Alright guys, in this video, I'm going to show you my process at Unbound Archery, how I build strings cradle to grave. A lot of times when people come over, this is the first time they're seeing some of this string equipment. So I'm going to walk you through my build process, explain how some of this equipment works. Keep in mind that no two string builders have the same process. We all kind of do things a little differently. But I hope you enjoyed this video. If you do, please subscribe and I'll continue to make content like this. So I apologize in advance if there's any quality issues with this video at all. I filmed every one of my YouTube videos with an iPhone. It's pretty easy and straightforward to use. One of my buddies sent me this mirrorless Nikon and I have absolutely no idea how to use it. So if there's any blurriness or you can't see things, and the lighting too down here in my basement isn't the best, so just an FYI, I apologize ahead of time. Stay tuned to the very end of this video for your chance to win your own custom set of strings from Unbound Archery. So every time an order comes in, I print out a build sheet, and on the build sheet, I write down the order number, the customer's name, the colors they picked, which in this case, we have Unicorn Blood Blue and Pink, VEC 99 from Bloodline, the bow make and model, which in this case, this is an Eva Shockey Gen 2, the string length, the cable length, and then it has all the serving layouts, where I need to put serving on the string and the cables, as well as the speed knock locations. The next step is going to be the layup. So before I start my layup, it's important for me to figure out what distance to put my posts away from each other. And that's based on the fiber I use, the amount of strands, what my finished length needs to be, how many twists I want to add in, and the stretch is all calculated. I use a special build calculator that has a custom length and a custom twist variable that's specific to Unbound, and it took us a while to get the exact calculations right. I use a different variable for strings, for cables. So the next step is going to be the layup. All right, I've got my calculations completed for the posts. I'm going to start with the string and then we'll move on to the cables. Okay, so I got the distance for this set, what I need it for the string. We're going to do half the wraps with the blue, the other half the wraps with the pink. The most important part of this layup process is making sure that every time I go around the post, I'm doing it with equal tension in my hand and the spool. Because if not, there's going to be some loose strands, they're not going to equalize right, the bundle's not going to look very good. So it's important to make sure every single one of these wraps has the same amount of tension on it. And I need to do that with both colors. Now that we have the layup done for the string, I'm going to put 150 pounds of tension on here. This is going to help kind of equalize some of these strands, and it's also going to prevent this from rolling and adding unwanted twists when I'm serving my end loops. So that's what we're going to do next. Let's serve these end loops. So next we're going to get ready to serve these end loops. I've got a ruler that slips over the post here, and I'm going to put a mark exactly where I want the serving to start and where I want it to stop. And that's based on the loop size. A lot of bows have different loop sizes. So for this one, we've got it marked, and we just need to apply our serving. It's important to get this one tight. This is one of those serving spots you don't want coming loose, that's for sure. Make sure this is nice and snug. Tighten that up a little bit. Burn these. And then we'll do the same for the other side. All right, now that I have the loops served on this, I'm going to take a piece of fiber and separate these two colors and get this moved over to the super server before I start on the cables. All right, we've got the string on the super server. It's got a few hundred pounds of pressure on it, and we're gonna let this sit for a little bit while we do our cables. So the cables are done pretty much the exact same way. The only difference is, of course, I'm gonna move my posts. So since this is the same process of the string, I'm probably gonna time lapse this and play some music for you guys.
I wanna be the best in the game, invest in my name. Check no restraints, I'm obsessed with the pain. I ingest, I retain, assess and I change. Possessed by the thought I'll be free one day from society's restraints. Money, clout and fame, mud, disease, a plague. We all love to hate, have to play the game, have to make a name. All our insecurities are on display. This is war with the enemy, think that it was meant to be. Living in a time where disease is on every screen. I won't let them fester me.
All right, so the cables are laid up and stretching. The string has seen enough stretch time, so it's time to go ahead and add the twist in here. So I'm going to take the pressure down a little bit, and then we're going to add these separators. I'm also going to add a Peep separator right here. This Peep separator, just find about halfway and add 6-7 inches. All right, I'm going to start off with 30 twists. All right, take the separators out. Add some more twists. Put the pressure back on. Before we put it on the stretching machine, we're going to check the length. Perfect. So now we're going to put this on the CycleBot. So the process for twisting the cables was exactly the same, and now I have this moved over to my CycleBot. This is the main way I like to stretch my strings and cables. I got this CycleBot from Bloodline, and basically with this I can program it to stretch, to dump the pressure, to stretch again, and the exact amount of time it stretches, the exact amount of time it dumps the pressure, and the exact amount of cycles that it continues to do those cycles is specific to Unbound. I know every string building company kind of has their own ways that they stretch their strings, whether they're just using the manual stretching machines or they're using air stretchers. They could be using a CycleBot from Bloodline. I know some of them use a cycling machine that they've built themselves. So I'm going to go ahead and get these cycled. I love this machine because of the way it pretty much shock loads the string, stretches it for a little bit, dumps the pressure, lets it relax, and before it relaxes too much, it shocks it again. It's pretty much like when you shoot your bow for the break-in period, except for this doesn't happen at 50, 60, 70, 80 pounds. This happens at several hundred pounds. So this is just a way more efficient and effective way to get your strings fully stretched before we send them out to you. All right, so let's start the stretching. All right, now that the cycle bot's done doing its thing, we're gonna pull these off and let them relax for a little bit. And then we can go right into checking the lengths and serving. Okay, we're gonna start with the cable. So the first thing we're gonna do is measure this. All string building measurements are taken at 100 pounds between 2 1/4-inch posts. So that's an important standard for string building. Cranked up to 100 pounds here. Need to be 35 9/16. That's good. So the next thing we're gonna do is called burnish the string, and we're gonna take a little bit of serving material, wrap it around, get it a little snug, and go down the string once. And this is gonna go ahead and get any of the gunk and stuff off the string before we serve it to make it look nice and clean. So I know for this cable, we need 6.5 inches of serving. So I'm gonna make a little dot. And then we're gonna go 13.5 for the roller serving to 21.5. And then this end serving is 9.5 inches. So now we can take this, move it to the serving machine, and then finish the servings on this. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and apply the tension here. This is one of everyone's favorite parts about watching string building, is watching how the serving's applied. Start it manually with hand, get it nice and snug. And then we're going to let the machine take over. Alright, now we're going to continue the serving down.
Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 yo, go, go, go. Hustle hard, hustle every single day. I'll be making moves till I'm buried in my grave. To the system, I don't wanna be a slave. I've been doing shit my way, or the highway. And in the driveway is a nice range. Cause I grind through the climb, I invite pain. You'll never hear me be.
Might be hard to zoom in on this where it's not blurry. Stop at the end loop, take a piece of serving, wrap it around the post. Then we're gonna continue the serving, making sure each wrap is tight, not overlapping, but tight right up next to each other. We want a 5/8 inch loop. Keeping it tight, we're going to pull the loop out. We wrapped around, go right through the center of it, pull, take that tag in and snug it up a little bit. And then we're going to burn it down. So that's it for our first cable. We're going to do this a second time with the other cable, and then we're going to move on to the string. The cables are finished, so it's time to check the length on the string and get it marked up and served. Take a twist out. 55 3/8. Get some of that gunk off of here. All right, so for the bottom serving, 19 inches, string stop 21 to 23, center serving 26 and a quarter, 30 and a half. Top serving also 19.
I got the cash in the bag, stadium packed. Born a rock star in this life, gon' live it up on the attack. Baby, I'm bad, I just wanna get caught up in this life. I'm crazy, I'm mad, doing no cap. Only got one, so you better go live it up. Cash in the bag, stadium packed, baby.
All right, time for the center serving. And for our center serving, you can get it in any color you want as long as it's black. It's important to pick the right serving diameter based on the materials you use, based on the amount of strands you use, and based on the customer's Nock Fit. There is a standard we go by if they don't note the specific Nock Fit they want. It's important to get the serving on the string tight, but not too tight, because it can cause all kinds of peep rotation issues. Alright, so check in Nock Fit with the standard knock. It should snap on, freely move up and down without getting hung up, and come right off. So perfect Nock Fit on that. Alright, so the string is finished with the serving, and one of the tests we like to do to see if there's going to be any peep rotation at all is keep an eye on this peep separator. I'm going to turn it all the way up to almost 400 pounds of pressure. I'm going to dump it back to 0. I'm going to go back to 400. That peep separator should not budge with all that weight on it. So we're at 0. We're going up. You saw the string stretch across a little bit. That peep separator has not moved at all. Back down to 0. Nothing. This thing is going to be rock solid. So before I wrap up everything on the main string, I like to get my bag ready. I send out a business card, and on the back it has the order number, the bow make and model, the string lengths, and then if there is any special request for Nock Fit, I put that on there as well. Right in the bag. The cables, I try not to bend them unless I absolutely have to, depending on the serving length, so it looks like this one could fold up and fit in here without having to bend the serving. It's best not to have to bend the serving at all. And if you do have to bend the serving, there's certain areas, like your roller serving, that's not as delicate. So those would be the ones to bend. Alright, so we got the cables ready to go, so we just need to finish out the string. Alright, so to finish out this string, right back to 100 pounds, all we got to do is add speed knocks. This one calls for 2 sets of 3, one starting at 15.5, and the other starting at 17.5. So we're going to make sure those are marked both sides, top and bottom. Get these started on here. All right, so now we take the shrink tubing, slide these over the string, right over top of the speed Nocks. We'll do the same thing for the bottom. So I hope this gave you kind of a little bit of insight or some broad overview on how strings are built. This is how we do it at Unbound Archery. Take the fibers you guys want, turn it into the finished product. This looks awesome. I bet they're gonna be excited to have this on their bow. You just cannot beat that new string feeling. So if you guys wanna win a set of strings, put a comment down below, any comment. Let me know what color strings you like the best. Let me know what you thought of the string building process. Was it easy? Was it harder than you thought it was gonna be? Is it something you might be interested in doing? And as always, thank you guys so much for watching.